Sang-woo arrives early at the Hunter Center where he meets Jumo. Jumo takes him inside, explaining that most of the hunter-related activities take place within the Hunters Association. Once inside, Jumo directs Sang-woo to the counter, where he requests the agent's authorization for simultaneous access to 2 hunting grounds. Sang-woo explains that his skill is cloning, but he has only one identity bracelet, which hinders him from getting duplicate access to 2 hunting grounds simultaneously. The agent asks him to wait for a while, since he is the first one to request duplicate access since a hunter named Jumper. After searching for the application form in a huge pile of folders, the agent retrieves it and hands it over to Sang-woo, instructing him to proceed to the civil service office and equipment room. Upon receiving the stack of documents from Sang-woo, Junmo offered to take care of all the necessary paperwork, allowing Sang-woo to proceed to the skill demonstration room without any worries. Jumo urges him to proceed directly to the skill demonstration room. Complying, Sang-woo makes his way to the designated room, where he successfully summons one of his clones. The summoned clone is completely naked, leaving Sang-woo and the female proctor flustered. Either way, he satisfies the criteria for duplicate access. Soon, he receives the duplicate identity bracelet from a third person. The person tells him that the bracelet will not only allow duplicate access, but also enable his clones to visit locations he has already entered. Additionally, the person expresses admiration for Sang-woo's exceptional skill, describing it as unparalleled, not only in Korea, but in the entire world. The third person seems to be a scientist and tries to inquire more information about the clone, but Sang-woo expresses gratitude for the compliment and promptly departs with his clone. After leaving the skill demonstration room, Sang-woo reaches the hall and meets Jumo, who congratulates him on the completion of the process. Grateful for Junmo's assistance, Sang-woo learns that all the preparations for his entry into the hunting grounds have been completed. Junmo asks if he is going to enter the hunting grounds right away, to which he agrees since it's his day off. While Junmo is questioning Sang-woo on why his clone is wearing a mask, they're spotted by a mysterious figure who happens to be the guildmaster Shin Hae-sung. Shin beckons Junmo's name and swiftly descends several floors and makes his way towards them. Although Junmo doesn't seem thrilled to see Shin, he still greets him, which amuses Shin. His attention then shifts to Sang-woo, and he inquires about his identity. Junmo explains that Sang-woo is a hunter affiliated with their organization, deducing this from his appearance and attire, and is classified as an F-rank hunter. Learning this, Shin proceeds to humiliate and mock Junmo for serving as a guide to a mere F-class hunter, reminding him of the time he supervised higher-ranking hunters in the Hae-sung Guild. This demeaning behavior angers Jumbo, pushing him to the brink. However, Sang-woo steps in and responds in a praising tone, acknowledging Shin as the master of the top-ranking guild in the country, which fills Shin with pride. Nonetheless, Sang-woo berates Shin's guild for monopolizing dungeons, restricting hunting grounds, and manipulating payment ratios, further fueling Shin's fury. Sang-woo's audacity surprises Shin, leading him to challenge Sang-woo to prove his skills and see if they match his bravado. This causes Sang-woo to feel extremely nervous as he contemplates his next move. Just then, Shin's assistant arrives and summons him for an urgent matter, prompting him to leave with the hope of meeting them again. Shin asks for Sang-woo's name, and he tells him to find out himself. He chuckles and calls him a funny guy while walking away. Sang-woo and Junmo also take their leave, heading towards the designated hunting ground. Junmo expresses gratitude to Sang-woo for his intervention, and Sang-woo explains that he couldn't stand by and watch silently. Upon questioning, Sang-woo reveals information he found about Junmo Agency on the web, uncovering his past as a former member of the Hae-sung Guild, which he was expelled from. After leaving, he joined a JM agency, but the members of his previous guild continued to threaten potential recruits, resulting in very few hunters opting to join his agency. Curious, Junmo asks Sang-woo why he decided to join their agency, and Sang-woo explains that the financial benefits offered were too impressive to resist, influencing his choice. Also that he can trust Junmo if there's something in the industry or agency he doesn't like, and Junmo expresses gratitude. Sang-woo then sends a text message to his clone, who is engrossed in an intense workout at the gym, instructing him to meet at 4 o'clock. With their plans set, they finally arrive at the challenging slime hunting ground, where Sang-woo struggles to breathe while wearing a gas mask, making it impossible to fill the container. Jumbo explains that even the most patient person can't hunt for more than 6 hours there unless equipped with high-quality gear. Realizing he can't endure even 2 hours, Sang-woo decides to send number 2 to hunt instead. He hands over all his equipment to number 2 and departs to enter the hunting ground, wishing him luck, like a proud parent. Sang-woo tells Junmo that they should head to the horned rabbit hunting grounds, but he remembers that he forgot to pick up number 1 from the gym. Clone number 1 is still outside the gym, waiting, looking bored and confused. Then arrives with Junmo at the gym to collect number 1. They head towards the Ujang-sang. On the way, Junmo inquires about Sang-woo's reasoning behind naming his clones. Sang-woo explains that since they all look identical, he assigns names to distinguish them. Sang-woo then asks Junmo about the necessary hunting equipment, making a finger pistol his hand, and Junmo advises him that renting is available at the hunting ground. However, Junmo emphasizes the importance of owning one's equipment, as the rented weapons are restricted to use on that specific hunting ground. As they reach the heavily guarded Ujang-san, Sang-woo notices how different it is from the slime hunting ground. Jumbo informs him that this is where the monster break occurs, wherein a monster exits the portal and wreaks havoc in the human world. This led to the transformation of this place into a field similar to the Ujang-san field. Jumbo narrates a past incident where high-class monsters invaded the place, but they were all defeated by hunters, leaving behind only E and F-class monsters. As a result, the Ujang-san has become a popular training ground for new hunters. Inside the field, Jumbo guides Sang-woo to the spot where he can rent the necessary equipment for hunting, albeit at a high cost. He assures Sang-woo that he can recover the expenses by hunting rabbits, since each one-horned rabbit fetches more money than a bucket of slime. Once at the designated spot, Sang-woo observes numerous focused hunters engaged in their hunting activities. Junmo then guides him to his designated hunting area, where he points him to his assigned seat, instructing him to begin hunting there. Confident in his shooting skills, starts the hunt with the belief that it will be an easy task. However, to his dismay, after 3 hours of continuous efforts, he fails to catch a single rabbit. At nightfall, Jumbo leaves, leaving Sang-woo alone to contemplate whether to stay or leave. Ultimately, Sang-woo decides to delegate the hunting task to his clone, number 1, instructing him to send a text message after each successful kill. He then heads home, hoping that number 1 will manage to catch at least 1 rabbit and enable him to earn some money. At home, Sang-woo checks his stats and notices a rapid increase in mana points, feeling content that number 2 is successfully slaying the slime. However, thinking about Shin's challenge, he realizes he still has a long way to go. Lost in these thoughts, he goes to sleep, wishing for number 1 to catch at least a single rabbit. Throughout the night, messages keep arriving from number 1, updating him on his successful hunting progress. The following morning, Junmo received a call from the manager of the slime hunting ground. The manager informed him that Sang-woo's second clone had been hunting relentlessly for a continuous 24-hour period and was behaving irrationally. The manager urgently implored Junmo to come to the hunting ground immediately and put an end to the clone's further hunting activities. Upon hearing this, Junmo assured them that he would be there as soon as possible. Meanwhile, Sang-woo woke up to find his phone flooded with messages from his first clone. He was astonished to discover that his clone had hunted an astonishing number of rabbits simultaneously. Junmo reached the slime hunting ground and was amazed to see all their available containers filled with slime by the second clone. He could hardly believe that the clone had accomplished all of this within a single day. Junmo called Sang-woo and excitedly relayed the news of the second clone's exceptional slime hunting prowess, urging him to stop the clone from further hunting while he called the corpse cleaners. In response, Sang-woo, who had arrived at the horned rabbit hunting ground, shared the unexpected revelation of the first clone's remarkable horned rabbit hunting abilities, leaving Junmo equally astonished. He instructed Junmo to send a team of corpse collectors there as well, as the corpses of horned rabbits hunted by the first clone had blocked the way. Meanwhile, a crowd had gathered at Jackson Field around the first clone and the pile of rabbit corpses he had accumulated. Observers were in awe of his extraordinary hunting skills, and guild masters and recruiters swarmed around him, offering invitations to join their respective guilds. However, being a mere clone, the first clone remained silent and did not respond to their propositions. At that moment, Sang-woo approached the first clone, concealing his identity under a hood. He handed his clone an additional box of bullets and told him to continue hunting until Junmo came with the corpse collector's team. Sang-woo patted the clone on the shoulder and told him he was doing a great job, leaving the clone emotional about the praise. The first clone submitted to the order, armed himself, and commenced his hunt, captivating the onlookers who had gathered to witness his extraordinary abilities in action. After leaving Ujangsan, Sang-woo headed to Haeyeon's house for their tutoring session while checking her test. His thoughts drifted towards the underestimated capabilities of his clones, contemplating what their actual potential could be if they could give such excellent output with just 50% of his stats. Haeyeon, curious about his deep thoughts, asked him what he was thinking about. He handed the check test to her, appreciating her improvement this time. She inquired about his thoughts again, and he revealed that he was contemplating his hunting experience. Surprised by the revelation that Sang-woo was a hunter, she proceeded to share recent news regarding a mysterious hunter who had astonished everyone by setting new hunting records through the successful elimination of hundreds of horned rabbits. This person remained unidentified, but was known as Ujangsan Eagle Eye, the Sniper God. Sang-woo was astonished to see the first clone prominently featured in the top news section of Hunter Wiki, but he pretended to be unaware of this news in front of Haeyeon. Haeyeon expressed her long-standing desire to become a hunter like Sang-woo. She revealed that she was awakened and had even obtained a license, but felt nervous to enter the hunting grounds. After some thought, she requested Sang-woo to take her to the hunting grounds just once if she had scored good marks on her test. In response, Sang-woo proposed a deal, Pinky promising to fulfill her wish if she achieved good marks and secured admission to Gyeongguk University. Sang-woo engages in a conversation with Haeyeon's mother, expressing his confidence in Haeyeon's talent and predicting her success. Little does he know Haeyeon stands behind the door, uplifted by Sang-woo's encouraging words. Declining the dinner invitation due to urgent matters, Sang-woo leaves, and Haeyeon is elated to have had the chance to talk to a hunter. Initially, she harbored some dislike for Sang-woo solely because of his father's association, but after interacting with him, she realized he is not as she had presumed. Motivated by Sang-woo's encouragement, she wholeheartedly dedicates herself to studying harder. After departing from Haeyeon's house, Sang-woo returns to the Ujangsan field, where a team of corpse collectors is busy collecting the bodies of horned rabbits. There, he meets Junmo, who is overseeing the process. When asked, Sang-woo tells Junmo about his tutoring job and is surprised to learn that a large team of 352 members has been assembled to collect the horned rabbits, an unprecedented event for Junmo. Junmo asks Sang-woo to check the reward money credited to his account, and to Sang-woo's delight, the sum far exceeds his expectations, leaving him exhilarated. Junmo attributes this success to Sang-woo's exceptional hunting skills and informs him that he has adjusted the settlement to 83%, a significant amount designated for E-class hunters. Amidst their conversation, they are interrupted by an individual who complains about clone number 1 stealing his prey, leading to a failed hunting experience. The person demands compensation for the loss, causing Junmo to believe they chose the wrong place for their discussion. Sang-woo, having an idea in mind, whispers something to Junmo, leaving the person infuriated. The person insists on receiving 10% of the group's earnings, but is met with laughter from Sang-woo. Sang-woo assures the person that clone number 1 won't be coming to the area for some time. Sang-woo provokes the frustrated individual by ignoring him, and the person then proceeds to attack. However, Sang-woo instructs clone number 1 to take the hit, resulting in a wound on clone number 1's face. The encounter is recorded by Sang-woo, who describes it as an act of violence, capturing the attention of the corpse collectors team. Utilizing the footage as leverage, Sang-woo warns the person not to threaten them and mentions Hunter Wiki, a platform to expose the person's actions and damage their reputation irreversibly. Overwhelmed, the person retreats, accepting defeat. Sang-woo, Junmo, and clone number 1 head to a coffee shop after the incident. Junmo reveals that the person they encountered was a member of the Haeseong Guild. The guild has a history of ill intentions towards their agency and the mistreatment of their hunters, leading many to leave. Junmo believes the encounter was triggered because they view Sangwoo as a potential hunter who joined their agency. Despite the challenges, Sangwoo remains determined and resolute, vowing not to succumb to their bullying tactics. He then shares a plan with Junmo on how he can get stronger, who is impressed by it. They decide to meet at the Hunter's Market the next day at 2 p.m. to discuss further actions. In the beginning, hunters used to trade their valuable items between each other until the Hunter Market was built. The following day, Sangwoo and Junmo rendezvoused there to acquire new gear. They headed into a store that reigned supreme in the industry by offering all the equipment a seasoned hunter could ever desire. Sangwoo was curious, so he decided to explore the department store as well, procuring cutting-edge titanium armor suits, formidable weapons, and a generous supply of ammunition. Recognizing the value of these purchases, he ordered 2 sets of similar armor, aspiring to equip his clones as effectively as himself. In addition to his newfound armor and weaponry, Sangwoo set his sights on the familiar skill he had sought in the past but couldn't afford at the time. Determined to acquire it now, he headed into the Heritage Store where the coveted skill ball was available. The description on the container revealed that this skill enabled one to share their senses with their summons or pets, an invaluable asset. Despite it still being beyond his budget, Sangwoo persuaded Junmo to lend him money in advance, firmly believing that achieving his objectives would enable them to recoup the investment swiftly. With the skill ball finally in his possession, Sangwoo returned home to unravel its secrets. As he delved into the accompanying manual, he learned that activating the skill involved infusing mana into the ball or utilizing a simpler method, merely pressing a button while keeping the ball in contact with his body. Aware of his own limitations in controlling mana, he opted for the button approach, resulting in a powerful ray of light enveloping him. The familiar skill activated, granting him the extraordinary ability to share his vision and senses with his clones. With the skill now at his disposal, Sangwoo assembled both of his clones, who were now equipped with the formidable armor he had purchased. These clones, despite possessing only half of his abilities, astoundingly demonstrated remarkable mastery over their physical movements. Sangwoo formulated a strategic plan to leverage this advantage and inquired about 2 specialized training grounds, one for enhancing long-range weapon skills and the other for honing short-range combat abilities. Setting his plan in motion, both clones headed to their respective training academies. Instead of starting with the basics, they immediately astonished the coaches by requesting instruction in sparring and shooting techniques. The sparring coach provided them with valuable guidance, emphasizing the significance of disarming the opponent to claim victory. Meanwhile, the shooting coach inquired if the second clone was certain about using a pistol rather than a shotgun, to which he responded resolutely. Both clones left the coaches flabbergasted as they showcased exceptional skill and expertise in their respective trials. One clone triumphed over his opponent in a lightning-fast sparring match, while the other impressively shattered a clay target with a single precise shot. Back to the coffee shop, where Sangwoo reveals his plan to Junmo on how he could get stronger. Utilizing the familiar skill would be a crucial element. This skill would allow him to not only share their vision, but also experience all their other senses in the moment. Sangwoo, true to his plan, connected to his clones using the familiar skill. Through this extraordinary connection, he experienced every nuance of their movements, their breath, aim, and direction, during both sparring and shooting sessions. As he absorbed these experiences, confidence surged through him, for he knew he now possessed the ability to flawlessly replicate these movements. Sangwoo experienced an astonishing sense of immersion, as though he himself had engaged in combat and marksmanship. The sensation of muscles in motion, the scent of gunpowder, and the recoil's force felt palpably authentic, despite his physical stillness. Remarkably, even pain coursed through him, as if he were the one physically executing these actions. It is essential to note that Sangwoo's clones possess identical physiques, bolstering his confidence in emulating their movements with effortless precision. A status window then materialized before him, conveying the augmented strength he had gained. Prompted by this newfound prowess, he resolved to practice both sparring and shooting, harnessing the power of his familiar skill. Connecting with number 1, who was currently locked in combat with the coach after vanquishing a highly skilled trainee, Sangwoo's curiosity piqued the interest of other onlooking trainees. The rarity of such a direct encounter between a coach and a student intensified their intrigue. Engrossed in the confrontation, the coach discovered that number 1, despite lacking experience with baton, possessed an extraordinary defense, adeptly anticipating and evading his attacks. Astonishingly, number 1 swiftly replicated the coach's techniques, turning them against him with astounding dexterity, leaving everyone flabbergasted. Sangwoo continued his relentless onslaught as the instructor struggled to defend himself, his movements leading him with his back against the wall. Just as Sangwoo was about to land a decisive blow, a grin came across the instructor's face. With one leg, he leapt and propelled himself off the wall, shocking Sangwoo and the clone. In one motion, he landed and knocked the batons out of Sangwoo's hands, hurting number 1's wrist. The onlookers cheered on the instructor's prowess, even though the match was close. Right when the instructor asked if they would like to continue, clone number 1 surprised everyone and copied the exact same move the instructor had just displayed. Upon landing on his feet with baton raised, clone number 1 declared they should go again. Observing number 1's performance closely, Sangwoo decided to establish a connection with number 2, who was presently engrossed in a session of shooting practice. To his surprise, number 2 even managed to hit not only his own targets, but the targets of a neighboring individual. However, this seemed to bring joy to both parties, allowing Sangwoo to concentrate exclusively on the art of marksmanship. Studiously, he absorbed every nuance of his clone's shooting techniques, thoroughly assimilating their prowess. Consequently, with the knowledge garnered from both clones, Sangwoo deactivated his familiar skill, the expenditure of mana leaving him fatigued. In need of a break, he took refuge on a park bench, contemplating the audacious exploits of his clones, who faced their training endeavors with unyielding determination and fearlessness. Deciding to accompany his clones during their next training session, Sangwoo was eager to test his own abilities in the same domain. In that very moment, Sangwoo encountered Haeyeon, who was returning from the library after completing her studies. Surprising Sangwoo, she engaged him in a conversation, and their interaction inadvertently captured the attention of onlookers sitting at a distance. We flash to a scene of the individual who had previously assaulted number 1 at Ujangsan Field. He then makes contact with members of his former guild, divulging that the incident had been captured on film. Consequently, they advised him against any involvement with Ujangsan Field, warning him to conceal his affiliation with the Hyeseong Guild at all costs. Frustrated and enraged, he vented his anger at the guild members over the phone. Subsequently, his associates, a group of felons, arrived and inquired about the source of his distress, leading to a full disclosure of the event. Notably, he sought job opportunities outside of Ujangsan Field as instructed. One of them confirmed the availability of part-time jobs, but the assailant recognized Sangwoo and Haeyeon's animated discussion nearby. Amidst the ongoing dialogue between Sangwoo and Haeyeon, an enigmatic figure approaches them, leaving both of them perplexed by his sudden appearance. With an air of urgency, Sangwoo identifies the mysterious individual and promptly summons his trusted associates, number 1 and number 2, instructing them to hasten to their current location. In tandem, their superior steps forward, demanding the expungement of a video recording capturing a prior assault, offering a seemingly peaceful resolution in exchange. Wary of the uncertainties that lie in acquiescing to such a request, Sangwoo hesitates, sensing an impending confrontation on the horizon. He counsels Haeyeon to seize the opportune moment and escape, while he himself stands resolute before their adversaries, emanating an unwavering aura of determination.
Thank you for watching Manhwa Junkies. Don't miss out on the next episode of this series. Consider liking, subscribing, and turning on notifications to stay updated. Your next dose is on the way.